Yeah, I'm fine. Wipe that smile off your face.
No, it's bizarre, eh? I mean, the whole thing. Late last night, obviously, my phone just about exploded. And I'll tell you though, the one thing I will say, I was doing some interviews yesterday, post-afternoon, late afternoon, right? And the guys were talking to me about Celtic. And what I did say, I did not, it's amazing, I did not think for a minute that Brendan would be Celtic manager at the start of next season.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I said about 3 o'clock, maybe earlier. And I had no idea what was happening, to be brutally honest with you. But so, in that respect, it's a little bit of a shock, probably the timing. But as I said, I couldn't see him being Celtic manager at the start of the season.
Did you feel it was a case of, I mean, we'll come to David Desmond's reaction in a moment, but did you think it was a case of Brendan maybe jumping before he was pushed?
No, I don't think that was the case. I genuinely don't. But looking at his body language and listening, I think we spoke about it before, Jeff, and listening to his interviews in recent weeks, he was not a happy boy.
No.
You could see him in his body language and some of the things he was saying in interviews about, the stuff about his squad and things like that. You could tell he was clearly unhappy. I mean, because it was so un-Brendan-like, actually, because it was as if he had dropped his guard with some of his quotes. So you could tell there was something underneath, rubbing away there. So, like anything else, I was surprised, but when I sat down and thought about it, not overly shocked.
But, you tender your resignation. You hope the response is going to go, it's something like, oh, we're so sorry to see you go. Thank you for all your efforts and hard work while you've been here. You're always welcome back at this football club. And it wasn't quite that, was it?
Well, it wasn't.
No, Dermot Desmond said his words and actions have been divisive, misleading and self-serving and have contributed to a toxic atmosphere around the club and fuelled hostility towards the executive team and the board. But apart from that, Dermot,
oh, I know.
I mean, it's a lot. That's a tiny clip because it's a long statement.
Oh, I know it is.
It's almost as if
Jeff,
when you want to get something off your chest.
Yeah. But can I backed up my point that you could tell all in the garden wasn't rosy? That's the point I'm trying to make. That you could tell right.
There was a lot of manure in that garden.
Yeah, you better believe it.
Yeah.
You better believe it. I mean, seriously, some ill feeling in the statement. There's no doubt about that, Jeff. But, you could tell for weeks and weeks, as I mentioned, the body language, you could tell his interviews, the things he was saying, he was not a happy camper, right? And with that statement that's been released, you could absolutely guarantee that Dermot Desmond was not a happy camper with Brendan during that period, because that's a heck of a statement for a manager that effectively has been successful.
Yeah.
So it's an unbelievable statement.
Yeah. I mean, it's an amazing state of affairs, isn't it? Here we are, not at the end of October, and Rangers have changed their manager and Celtic are about to. Do you think, by the way, that the fact that Danny Rowell has come in at Rangers, he's only got one win.
Yeah.
Did that heap extra pressure on Brendan?
No, Jeff. There's something we're not eating away.
Right.
Yeah, definitely. I don't think it's got anything to do. I genuinely don't think it's got anything to do with Rangers changing the manager. I genuinely, 100%, my opinion is it's nothing to do with that. And I tell you, as much, I don't think it's anything to do with Celtic being behind Hearts at the league. I really don't. I think it's to do with Brendan being really unhappy with something at the club. I think recruitment's clearly one of the things, but I would suggest there's more than, there's 2 or 3 things that he's very, very unhappy with. Recruitment being one of them. I do not think Rangers changing because I think the opposite, Jeff. I think the way things are at Rangers, Brendan would have been delighted to stay, to tell you the truth. Because effectively, the last 30 years would tell you, if you're a Celtic manager and you're beating Rangers, you're going to win a league, and vice versa. It might not be the case this year, but I don't think Rangers' situation really, honestly, Well, I'm going to say it does. I don't think it's got anything to do with it. What I think slightly might have something to do with it is the fact that Rangers are so poor, and I think Brendan probably feels that Celtic haven't strengthened from a really strengthened from a position of strength.
Well, no, and in fairness, but Dermot Desmond said, look, I mean, basically, Brendan was completely in charge of recruitment. Brendan, on the other hand, says, you know, I mean, the famous quote, they've given me a Honda Civic and expect me to drive it like a Ferrari.
Yeah.
There hasn't been any great investment. Rangers spent twice as much as Celtic did.
Correct.
But obviously Hearts spent significantly less. I just wonder, you know, in the long term, once all the bitterness has died down, whether it might be for the benefit of both parties. Because Brendan's been there in 2 spells for nearly 300 games. You can stay too long at places, can't you?
Oh, without a doubt. Absolutely without a doubt. And it looked to me as though Brendan had stayed too long from the point of view that he just didn't look happy. That was the main thing. He didn't look happy, didn't look content, didn't really look as though he was enjoying his job, to me, from the outside. And once that happens, you know, I don't think there's any doubt that affects your job. It affects your ability to do your job. So, again, from that point, Jeff, I don't think it's been any major surprise. But I think you make a very valid point. You know, I think the truth is somewhere, like a lot of times, it's somewhere in between.
Yeah.
You know, in terms of the recruitment and things like that. Because you're right, Rangers spent a lot more money. And Brendan, you know, Dermot obviously came out and said that Brendan was in total charge of the recruitment, the ins and outs. And if that's the case, then so be it. But you'd have to suggest for a club that has so much money in the bank due to their success, particularly in Europe, you know, have they spent enough?
Yeah.
I'm not so sure.
Well, from Brendan's perspective, maybe it's, you know, before I'm sure he'll be in demand, but, you know, before that, maybe time for a short break, you know, Barbados, West Coast Hotel, that sort of thing.
I would hazard a guess that flight that Brendan's jumping on, Jeff, will be going east rather than west.
It's not going anywhere near Sandy Lane, is it? Which Dermot is co-owner of.
If it's going west, it's going northwest.
So look, I mean, the man to replace Brendan, for the time being at least, is the former Celtic boss, Martin O'Neill. And Martin, of course, was right here in this studio yesterday on White and Jordan.
Sure.
But speaking last week on the show, he said Brendan was wrong to publicly criticise the lack of investment.
I've made a lot of big statements in my time. I've come to regret loads of them, probably all of them. But I don't think you should be saying that this minute, you know. And I'm not one to be giving advice to managers and that. But
tell me why.
Well, why
shouldn't you say that?
Well, I'll tell you what. I've got an owner here who has had managers himself. Some he's liked and some he hasn't liked. And I don't think, and I'm not even going to speak for Simon. He might totally disagree. But if someone is saying a manager's making that comment, you feel as if it's actually directed at you and that you have not given him the tools to go and do what he's to do. Now, we all feel like this as managers. That's right. And owners feel differently. They feel as if, I haven't given them and they hasn't blinked and well done the job.
So Martin O'Neill is temporarily in charge alongside Sean Maloney. We love having Martin here in the studio. He's got experience galore. He's worked with
talks a lot of sense,
Dermot
Martin.
before.
He talks a lot of sense.
He's got a great track record.
Yeah.
Would he be a contender?
Oh, it'd have to be. Have to be. I mean, that's an interesting one, but I'm going to say it anyway. He's the Celtic best team the last 25 years by a mile. It's not even up for consideration, in my opinion, that. Clearly, the Celtic side just now is nothing like the side that Martin had. But what you listen to that interview there, Jeff, Martin's right. I mean, it's difficult to be critical of Brendan in respect of the success he's achieved at Celtic, which he has. But as I said, some of the things he was saying. I mean, if Martin, you know, and people in football, myself included, are opening their eyes and saying, "Wow, that's a heck of a thing to say," but bordering on bizarre. You know, you can tell something's not right within the camp. So, in answer to your question, yes, it'd be an obvious candidate. Obviously, taking on Sean Maloney, who's experience in management as well, obviously Hibs and Wigan and things like that. So, from Celtic's point of view, now at this moment in time, they're in good hands. There's no doubt about that. Absolutely good hands with Martin and wee Sean. But whether that is the team to take them forward or not, time will tell.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, put it in perspective. Last season, Celtic won the league by 17 points. They finished 40 points ahead of Hearts, who they now trail by 8 points. Some turnaround. But look, it's a fascinating story, isn't it? What's going to happen at Celtic? What's going to happen to Brendan Rodgers? I think there'll certainly be plenty of suitors for him, probably in England.
You know, the best thing that's happened? It's absolutely taken my prediction of Hearts winning the league right off the back pages, I'll tell you.
Look, I'm sure we can come back to that, Coisty. You know, it's going to be interesting to see what impact it has on Celtic, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure.
So, Celtic fans, let's hear from you. Rangers fans, look, keep your thoughts to yourself. We all know what they are.